So now we're going to be talking about Furkan. Furkan is our youngest patient. Furkan is 7.5 years, and she's coming to the office because mom was complaining about crowding. She also mentioned that she looked full. So this is the face of Furkan, and this was the malocclusion of Furkan. Furkan is an early mixed dentition, so we're going to classify it as a mixed dentition patient. When we classify Furkan as a mixed dentition patient, what do we see? What type of classification do we see? Class 1, class 2, or class 3? In mixed dentition, what do we see? Class 1. Okay. Now, in reality, we are going to see, okay, on the sixes, on the sixes, I agree with you, we see perfect class 1, on the sixes. But if we classify her today she is the mesial step, okay? And technically, mesial step is a very minor class 3 position, okay? So technically, if we want to classify her, she's minor mesial step, okay? Now, most likely, she's going to be coming more than 73% of the cases. As long as the marker for skeletal problem is less than 5 millimeters, she's going to become a perfect class 1. Okay, she's not going to go any further forward. If the mandibular growth potential is higher than those 5 millimeters, then maybe the mandible will grow much more and she might become a class 3. But technically, she is going to become a class 1. But today she's a mesial step. And in mixed dentition, remember she's mixed dentition, in mixed dentition, she is class 3. Okay? Everybody follow me? Okay? So if we classify her as a mixed dentition case, in mixed dentition case, then she is class 3. Okay? And here I will add for all of you. Okay? Minor mesial step. But again, technically, she is a class 3 patient. Class 3 patients do not have any revision, and if we are going to quantify the problem is really very minor, okay? If we look at the step, I did here the step for you, the step is around 2 millimeters, okay? It's just perfect class 1. So we will classify her as the mesial step. Then on the molars, okay? It's going to be 1 millimeter, maybe 2 millimeters, okay? We can leave it mostly in 2 millimeters, okay? Which I agree with you, that is a perfect class 1, okay? But if we're classifying mixed dentition, okay, it's about 2 mm of class 3. Remember that the molars in permanent dentition, to be perfect class 1, it has to be slightly class 3 according to Anglo's classification. Okay? The super class 1 is 2 to 3 mm class 3 according to Anglo. Okay? That's why in the mixed dentition, the 2 to 3 mm of class 3 in adult dentition will become class 1. Okay? In the caspit, we look at the deciduous caspit. Okay? In mixed dentition cases, in the caspit, we look at the deciduous caspit, and let me make this figure for you so you can see better. Okay? When we look at the deciduous caspit looks quite reasonable. Now, they are completely damaged, so we don't really know 100%. But if we look at the pictures, in the pictures you still can see a little bit where it seems that they are growing. Okay, they look reasonable class 1. Okay, so we would place a 0 on the right, and on the left we have even less idea, but they also look quite reasonable class 1. Okay, but they are very damaged. So on the caspit, we are going to just leave the thing. Okay? Then what type of dentition was the patient? Mixed dentition. Okay? Very young patient, mixed dentition. And the vice. What type of vice did you have? It was a kind of average toward this vice. Okay, average toward this vice. Okay, so I will honestly accept any of the two. If we look at the central incisor, she is average. If we look at the lateral incisor, then she is. Okay? So we accept them both. Okay. We accept them both. Functional shift. When we are looking at the functional shift, the first thing that we have to check always is going to be the upper midline to the face. And as you see, the upper midline to the face looks very reasonable. Once we look at the upper midline to the face, we check upper to lower midline, and also looks very reasonable. So we call it non-functional shift. When we go to the tissue, as you see, she's a pretty young girl. Tissue looks quite healthy. Okay? And the tissue is going to be much closer to average to our full than average to our thick than average to our thin. Okay? Let me show you here that the tissue, you see, we can call it average, but it's not very, very thick. Okay? And we can have an idea where the roots are, but it's also not a very thin tissue. Okay, we just can have an idea where the roots are. As for example, the two lateral incisors are thick, and the central incisors are average. Okay, we always call it the worst, so we call her average. On the deciduous caspit, we have it also average. Okay. The next thing were the incisors. What do you think about the shape of the incisors. They look quite reasonable. Okay, if they look quite reasonable, we call them well formed. And the curve C in the case is actually somewhere in between flat and moderate, much more closer to flat. Okay? And I accept them both. Much more lasting. Okay, and I accept them. The arch form in the lower arch if you look at the lower arch, the arch form is nice ovoid or slightly square. Okay, that is nice ovoid. Again, in this type of thing, you have more than one that is possible. I accept them both. I consider it ovoid, but if you give me a square, I also take it.
ครับตอนเช้านี้นะครับเราก็เริ่มด้วยเคสฟูกันนะครับซึ่งเป็นคนไข้ที่มีอายุที่7 ขวบนะครับก็จากที่เราได้ดูกันแล้วใช่ไหมครับเราก็ fill out ในแท็บนะครับอันแรกสุดก็คือ classification ทางด้าน dental นั่นเองนะครับก็มาดูว่ามันเป็น classification ใน dental ในรูปแบบไหนครับ class 1 class 2 class 3นะครับอันนี้เราก็มาพิจารณาดูจากตรง terminal plane เมื่อกี้ที่เขาแสดงให้เห็นอยู่นะครับว่ามันมีเป็นประมาณว่า mesial step นะครับจะเป็น mesial step อยู่ประมาณ 2-3 มิลนะครับในที่นี้เราก็ดูได้ว่าแนวโน้มนะครับว่ามันจะคงจะเป็น class 3นะครับเราก็จะลงเป็นclass 3นะครับสำหรับตัวโมล่าเราจะเห็นแล้วว่ามันโมล่ามันมีทางขวานะครับมีเป็นคลาสสิก2 มิลนะครับในทางเดียวกันด้านซ้ายเช่นเดียวกันนะครับคลาสสิกยังไม่ออกมานะครับเราก็เลยเรียกว่าเป็น0นะครับสำหรับ functional shift นะครับเราก็มาสังเกตดูจากตัวมิดไลน์นะมิดไลน์ค่อนข้างจะตรงนะครับมันก็จะเป็นงาน functional shift byte นะครับaverage นะครับแต่ค่อนข้างจะไป deep นะครับเราก็จะให้เป็น deep ที่ประมาณ51% เป็นต้นไปนะครับเป็นที่ใช้เป็น mix อย่างที่เห็นนะครับ lower anterior tissue นะครับในช่วงที่เป็น anterior กับตัว aspect นะครับก็จะเป็น moderate นะครับไม่เป็นปากบางมากนะครับโดยเชฟของ the incisor ก็เป็น well formed นะครับเรื่องของ speed ก็ moderate นะครับในตัวค่อนข้างจะ flat ด้วยนะครับก็ใส่ได้ทั้ง2นะครับแต่เป็น moderate น่าจะโอเคกว่านะครับ arch form ก็เป็นovoid นะครับอย่างถ้าเราจะดูจากทางด้าน occlusal view นะครับ
And then we have the crowding. Okay, and if we're going to talk about crowding, when we're going to be talking about the crowding, we have to really assess the crowding in the mixed vision analysis. Okay, we're going to do it with the dental cap. Today we just can guess. Okay, today we just can guess. Now, if we look at the anterior, in the anterior area, we do have a little bit of crowding. So you can see the rotation, and this is what Mom was complaining about. But if you look at the E, the size of the E is huge in this case. If we compare with the size of the premolar, actually the size of the premolar at the most is going to be something like this. Okay? So if this would be one of our premolars, okay, and then you have another premolar, and then you have the cuspid, see that they fit? So actually, if you want to call it crowding, in this case, yes, I agree on the anteriors, we might have a couple of millimeters of crowding, but then we have the leeway space that can be used for that crowd. Because this lady is really perfect class 1 today. So if we hold upper and lower molar in position, the case can be perfectly solved and then can be considered in one problem. Okay? If we look at what we see right now, okay, on the anteriors, I agree we have a tiny bit of crowd. Okay? But if we really look at the size of the teeth and the space available for the teeth, in the lower arch, the teeth basic. When we look at the upper, we get exactly the same feeling. Okay? In the upper, we might have a tiny bit much more crowding, because can you see, if you see the size of the upper E relative to the size of the lower E, the uppers are much smaller. Okay, so the uppers are much reasonable, but much normal size. Okay, as a general rule, the D will be the same size as the 4. Okay, the E is a tiny bit bigger, but it's only 1 millimeter as usual, 1 to 1.5 millimeter. Okay. Cuspid is a little bit smaller, but the E will give the space for the cuspid. So we can say that more or less in the upper arch we might be having the crowd that you see on the incisors. Okay? So on the incisors we see a little bit of overlap, and I agree that on the incisors we might have a couple of millimeters of crowding, 3 millimeters the most. Okay?
ครับถ้ามาดูประมาณของตัวcrowding ที่มีอยู่นะครับเราก็มาดู discrepancy นะครับในตรง lower ก่อนนะครับถึงในลักษณะของตัว lower arch นี้นะครับเราก็ลองดู mesial distal นะครับของตัว bicuspid ที่มันก่อนที่ขึ้นมานะครับเปรียบเทียบกับตัวฟันน้ำนมนะครับคือที่ BCE ที่เห็นอยู่นะครับ CE มันค่อนข้างจะใหญ่กว่าอยู่แล้วนะครับดังนั้นถ้าเราประเมินดูนะครับว่า mesial distal ของfirst และก็ second bicuspid แล้วก็ตัว cuspid ด้วยเดียวกันที่จะลงมาแม้กระทั่งที่จะมี rock ขึ้นมานะครับเราเห็นว่ามันก็จะพอมีช่องว่างเพียงพอนะครับบนขานกายในการที่จะ accommodate ทั้ง3ซี่นี้ได้นะครับแต่ว่าถ้ามาดูทางด้านหน้าเห็นว่ามี crowding อยู่ด้วยนะครับจากตอนที่มัน rock ขึ้นมาแล้วนะครับก็ประเมินคร่าวๆได้นะครับว่ามันจะมี discrepancy ในแนวของตัว crowding อยู่ประมาณสัก3นะครับในลักษณะเดียวกันนะครับของตัว upper นะครับตัว upper CE กับที่bicuspid ที่จะลงมานะครับมันก็ค่อนข้างจะคอมเพนเซตกันไปนะครับก็ crowding ก็อยู่ประมาณ 2-3 มิลนะครับเราก็สามารถจะลงไปตามนั้นได้นะครับ
Okay, so in the lower, if you want to see 2, we can say 2 is closer to 0, the crowding, because in the lower, the permanent firmly fixed. In the upper, we might be seeing a couple of millimeters, 3 meters. Okay? So that's what we saw. Now, if we look at the rotations in this case, if we look at the rotations in this case, okay, we would be placing an imaginary wire on the case. following the shape of rotation. The most obvious rotations that we see actually are the two lateral factors, okay? And we only check the residuals, permanent teeth, not the residuals, okay? So what rotation do you give me on the lateral incisors?
Medial.
Medial, no, lateral.
Lateral. Distal.
Distal. And the central can be considered as paratonal. Okay. And if we do the same in the upper arch, okay. In the upper arch, the most obvious rotation, we are going to be these two. So what do you see on the central?
Distal.
Perfect. On the central we see a distal rotation. And on the lateral,
Medial.
medial rotation. Perfect. Okay. So if we are going to complete the chart, we have both lateral incisors in the lower arch with the distal rotation, and we have the 2-1 with the distal rotation and the C2 with the medial. And all the 3, 4, 5 are residuals. Okay? Let me try to see if I can make this written here. So actually, this is what you are going to get. And the 8 are still not present, and the 7 are still not present. So actually, here we have to like to do everything.
โอเคค่ะรู้สึกว่าน้ำจะบัง
7 and 8 are still not present.